there any collectives that would like to come in and any messages they'd like to bring forth?
Let's see what collective wants to come forward this week.
Yeah, because we did the Pleiadians last week. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and there are Ascension Handbook. We are exploring the different collectives, and we had the pleasure of exploring the Pleiadian collective last week. Are there any collectives that would like to come in at this time?
Saw all the collectives. Like I'm back on the spaceship and it's like I saw all the collectives and then I saw the Plutonians like raising their hands, like pushing towards the front, like us.
Well, this is exciting. I never listened to the last one about the Plutonian, so I'm really excited to learn about you all.
Oh, you've never met the Plutonians?
No.
They come into my sessions a lot. They're amazing.
All right, our friends, the Plutonians, you have the floor. What would you like to start off to tell us? Because I'm quite ignorant, so it'll help me with my questioning if you start off with a little introduction.
It's just so funny because I was expecting like the Lyrans or the Syrians. Um, okay, so they're saying that Pluto plays an extremely important role in our evolution and our ascension. And uh, they came forward today because we were talking about astrology and Western astrology. And we were just talking about the stars. And even though this is more astronomy, they're saying that Pluto is so important to us at this time and it's very important. I mean, they're saying it is a planet.
I'm not going to second guess them. So,
So, so Carrie, just so you know a little bit, so the Plutonians basically they're so funny. They're like, you saw the picture of my thumbnail. That's exactly how I see them. Um, and basically I see them as like just pure observers. Like they're just on Pluto with their popcorn, hanging out, watching the Earth show, and they're very invested. Like they're amazing to get perspectives on because they don't really care either way. Like they're not emotionally invested at all. And they kind of have just a different way of being where they don't even really care about ascension or anything. So sometimes if you need that outside perspective of just the observer, they're amazing to ask questions to.
now, do they have any of their collective here as star seeds, or are they completely removed?
Who they said yes.
Oh, they do. So what, like, is there a certain area of the world that they sent their star seeds to, or they sprinkle them all around?
It's showing me that it's like the people that just don't really care, like the apathetic people where they're just kind of being and living. Um, they have a Plutonian frequency, like, um, they're just here to live and have their own experience, and they don't really care either way. And they're showing me that they're, like, pretty spread out right now. It's almost like Plutonians came as, like, placeholders, but they're still not emotionally invested in the ascension.
So do they have a higher frequency? Like, are they a higher dimensional being?
They are, but it's in, like, a completely different way. So, we think of high dimensional beings as, like, this pure loving being, like, it has to ascend. Um, they are higher dimensional, but in a completely different way. Like they're more focused on just the experience that they're in at that present moment. So they're very good at like teaching people presence. And these are kind of like the people in your life. And it's so funny because this whole time I've been so confused why the Plutonians like kept coming to me and they're telling me that my brother is one. And it makes so much sense because my brother is like so apathetic and I couldn't figure out like where he came from. And they're saying that it's like they're almost here to like teach people presence and teach people to slow down. It's like we um just need to appreciate the experience that we're in, and we can have this attitude of like not having to be so emotionally invested in what everyone else is worried in. It's almost like they're helping to like they're that duality. So there's like a lot of excitement among like light workers right now. So it's almost like we asked some of the Plutonians to come in to be the duality of the excitement of like the I just don't care what really happens, so that we still have this balance of it.
I mean, I do appreciate that Plutonian aspect. I appreciate people who are like that, because I can understand them. It's easy to understand that. Now, do they, so those types of beings that the Plutonians that when they incarnate here, they just don't play with the lower ranges of emotions at all?
So they still definitely are in their emotions. It's almost just like they're more balanced in their emotions. And they're
Got
saying
it.
that
So,
there's not that many people incarnated here, but there are some.
right, right. Um, do they work with other collectives?
Yeah, so that is like there are some on the Galactic Federation. And it's kind of like the few that are on the Galactic Federation are the ones that convinced the other ones to come to Earth, even though they were happy just being observers. Like they were like, "Do I have to?"
That's so funny. That's so funny. I mean, I understand. I always say I got voluntold to come here.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're like showing me. Like they
Do you
were
get
happy.
right, right. Well, we appreciate that they're there. Why were they so excited to come forward today and kind of be the first ones?
Because they want to talk about how important Pluto is in our ascension.
Well, let's talk about it. Tell us about it. How important is it?
So Pluto, and I don't know that much about astrology, but they're showing me that when Pluto is going through the different gates, like through the different astrological gates, it's that energy. Pluto's like that Scorpio energy that is bringing all of our darkness into the light. So, um, it's so important for us to be aware of Pluto and being aware of like where it's currently at in our astrological system, or like where it's at in our solar system. And if we start tracking Pluto, then um it's almost like we can see what's going to happen in the collective timeline, because the collective timeline is directly related to the energy of Pluto and where it's traveling at in our solar system. And it's like they're showing me as Pluto goes through Libra, that's going to bring up different things from the collective. When it's traveling through Virgo, that's going to bring up like our codependency, and um like we'll feel ungrounded and things like that. Or when Pluto's going through Gemini, it's like our voice might feel shut down. They're saying it's like Pluto's like that really important Scorpio energy that's bringing all of this darkness from the collective into the light. And they're like Pluto is one of the most important planets in the ascension right now.
And here we have been neglecting it. What do I mean? I'm ignorant here. Why do people not consider Pluto a planet?
They said because it's so small, like it was just kind of forgotten. Um, and then they're also saying it's like there are those few people where they didn't want us to know the importance of Pluto. And then they're also saying it's like you can be this small planet, but you can, or just because you're not as big as all the other planets, you're still so important of helping release this darkness, of like helping others go into the darkness to find the light.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite Bible quotes that I actually loved growing up as a kid was the tiny mustard seed grows to the tallest plant in the and so it just reminds me of that. Like even though you're this small little speck of a seed, you can still make this great impact within the field of life. And now, what do you guys? I know that you have a thumbnail, but if you guys can explain a little bit how you look.
Yeah, it's like I see them almost as like little geckos, like um and they just are. Like they're sassy and they're present and I love it.
And you're here for it.
Yeah.
Now, do you what are like their superpowers?
Being an observer, like just being able to fully be an observer, and they get really excited. Like they're showing me, they love to show people pictures because they love that feeling of being in a movie or being like that excitement of being involved in something that isn't really yours to be involved in.
Did the Plutonians invent Bravo and reality TV? Because I feel like it's up their alley.
Yeah, well, they said that Earth is their reality TV, like their favorite show, and that's why they love to come on here, is because they're so invested in watching the show that it's almost like when they get to come into our sessions, they're like, it's like they called in and they're speaking to their favorite actor.
Oh my gosh. It is a farce. So how do they feel since they're objective and they're watching us? How do they feel like we're going? Like what do they really feel like humanity should be working on right now? Oh no. I
They
asked.
they told me their superpowers. It's like I saw this little gecko with like lasers coming out of its eyes.
Do they actually have those superpowers?
It's like I saw another little gecko like shoot, like one gecko shot his laser eyes at another gecko and he started laughing instead of course. Um, they're saying that right now is the time to practice and work with your spiritual abilities because what's more fun and what would make this experience even better than unlocking your superpowers right now. And they're like, that would make uh the show so much better if you walk into your superpowers right now.
So they don't really care about how it affects us. They just like it for the entertainment purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I love it. Are we all supposed to like, there are the different you can hear, you can see the future, you have psychic abilities, all these different like clairaudience, clairvoyance. Are we supposed to have all of those or do some of us like just have like a couple of those that we're meant to have during this time?
Yeah, so some of us just have more prevalent ones than others. But for the most part, once you step into that, you're also the co-creator. So you can start working with each spiritual ability. And if you feel like one's not your strongest, then you can start working with it to make it your strongest if that's what you chose.
Now, I know that some channelers have said to be careful about which ear the information kind of comes in through, if it comes in through the right or the left. Does that even matter?
Um, no, I think that person's just very clairsentient. You just have to be, it's like I saw a gecko like whispering in my ear. It's like you just have to be aware of who is whispering to you.
Right. So it doesn't matter which side it comes in through.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wondered that because just to check in, like make sure it's of the good and not steering you in the different direction. Um, what do you love most about Earth? Like watching it? What is like what are you guys into right now?
Okay, so it's like I see them watching like politics or it's kind of like I see them watching Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey is all over everything. Like I cannot escape it. And it's like I'm watching the Plutonians with popcorn and they're like, are people really gonna believe this? Like that's their favorite part or like the court case with Donald Trump. They're eating their popcorn and they're like, man, are people really buying this? Like it still amazes them. And they're at the point where it's like almost like they're shaking the TV and they're like, wake up. But like
Oh. Oh my
and
gosh.
they're saying that it's good to be apathetic or like it's good to be apathetic in some things. Like it's good to be apathetic the in the sense that you're present, like in the sense that all that matters is the beauty of the present moment. Um, like not worrying so much about the past, not worrying so much about the future. But there's also this line of like when it's infringing on your sovereignty and when it's infringing on the experiences that you came to have, that's when it's important to like speak up and be in your sovereignty. And that's when it's important to like when you honor like the Pluto energy, like that's when you honor the Scorpio within you and you help others like go into the darkness so that we can bring so much light out of it.
I love that. Is there anything else you want to tell us about Pluto right now or your guys' help in the ascension?
They're just saying that the Plutonians have always been here. It's like this plan for Pluto to just like slowly, it's like Pluto, the energy around Pluto, and that's why it's the farthest away. It's like the energy of Pluto is the darkness that has been accumulating over and over while we're in the densest part of the earth. And that's why it's so important that it be released right now. So it's like when we feel like so when these things come up to us, come up into our awareness to be released. So like when I did that ancestral trauma release where I just felt this dark cloud over me for like 3 days. They're saying like when you feel that way, connect with Pluto and just ask Pluto to transmute it for you. It's like transmuto. No, maybe that is what they told me. They're like, that wasn't an accident. They're like, call it transmuto. So it's
Transmuto.
transmuting your energies.
Transmuto.
That's amazing.
I love that. Do they want more to have more of an interaction? Like, can we encourage more people who are channeling or anything to tap into you guys to get some information and so you can have more of a direct connection with your favorite actors.
Yeah, they got really excited and they were like, yes, like they start like jumping up and down. They're like, we would love it.
Okay. And we'll be more mindful of tapping in with you guys as well. That you guys don't have to push your way to the front. You can feel more like you're called down the aisle like you won a game show.
Yeah, and they're saying that like they've always been around. It's I'm seeing a Plutonian like sit on the shoulder of a giant.
I
It's
love it. The Plutonians
like,
and the Giants. Atlas.
yeah, it's like they've always just been around observing. They're like the observers for the entire solar system or this galaxy.
And they report to other collectives the information. Do they ever share that information?
They said, eh. Like there some of them do, but for the most part, they're just there, like with their popcorn, watching like the show.
I would imagine. I would imagine that would keep you guys very entertained.
It would be
Uh,
nice to be a Plutonian for a couple lifetimes.
I think it just
Maybe-
would be relaxing. It's like,
Yeah, maybe after this lifetime, like if I leave Earth, I'll just go be a Plutonian and hang out with them.
I mean, it would be a nice R&R before going to the next mission. Although I have a feeling your higher self's like, nope, that's not happening.
I
All
know.
right. Well, before we go ahead and close out this session, are there any final messages from you guys?
I'm seeing there's something to do with the core of the planet. It's like the core of the planet is illuminated and it's directly connected to Pluto. It's really interesting what they're trying to show me.
Is it magnetic? I mean, I can imagine it being the furthest one away and the smallest, that it keeps everything else like in rhythm, in time, in check. Um, Almost like a clock, where the numbers are. You have the dial has that center point, and then the outer rim of the clock has the little lines with the numbers. Like they all, I don't know. It just reminded me something of rhythm and check and time.
Yeah, something about Pluto, the way that it cycles around Earth. They're showing me the Mayan calendar again, all of the cycles of time, and it's like Pluto is that final cycle coming back around for the universe.
You know how, like in a safe, when you turn the numbers, when it's like a turn safe, and each turn, when you engage that correct number, it like unlocks another, like, is that what it's doing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw. So when we first started this session, when I saw the pyramids aligned to Orion, that's exactly what I saw. I saw like a keypad. And then so
Mm-hmm.
it's like interesting that they're bringing this back in. It's almost like Pluto is like the key to unlocking our cycles of time, or it's like it's unlocking time for us. Or
So, like,
release. They said it's releasing time for us.
releasing it, like, explain that a little bit more, friends.
They said really pay attention to when Pluto comes back around and is near the planetary alignment of Orion.
And we did talk about Orion's belt with the Vedic, the pyramids.
Yeah,
So is that
it's like I'm almost seeing, so I'm seeing the three pyramids. I'm seeing like how they're aligned to Orion, and then it's like I'm seeing Pluto go around that, and it's almost like it's like unlocking. They're saying it's unlocking the cycles of time and opening us up to new real I heard it's opening us up to new realities and like shifting the way that we see time.
And is that what helps evolution?
Yes.
And that's why we have certain themes that we go through?
Yeah, and so when you see these collective themes of like the darkness that's coming up to the surface, it's because Pluto is in a certain place in the stars.
Okay. So what if Pluto's in alignment with certain like planetary systems that like you said could be unlocking us speaking our truth, unlocking like the darkness of like what that looks like. Um that makes sense. That makes a lot
Yeah,
of
there's
sense.
something like really important with the constellation of Orion though and Pluto, so I'll have to look into that.
Is there anything they can help guide us to as to what we need to look into for that information?
I'm seeing a picture of in the astrological chart with the angles, and they're just saying like look at what sign it will be in during or when Pluto goes through it, when it's like perfectly aligned to the Giza pyramids. They're just saying
Okay.
it's like it's all coming back around. So they're saying that this time is so important for cycles because we have so many cycles that are coming back into alignment. I'm really using my hands today. I keep hitting
Hmm.
things. Um yeah, they're saying that there's so many cycles of time that are about to like perfectly line up. So we have um so even like you could look at like knowledge as a cycle coming back around, and I heard Billy Carson say this the other day where 12,000 years ago this is when we were introduced to a lot of this ancient knowledge, and this ancient knowledge is just coming back around on its cycle, and that's why we're so lucky to be here in this time, is because um we're in the age where all this knowledge is coming back and we have access to it. So they're just saying that like there's so many universal cycles. Like they're showing me that there's like a a really important like 144-year cycle. So we'll have to see what was 144 years ago. They're saying that there's a really important 12,600-year cycle matching up. There's a really important 52,000-year cycle matching up. And there's a really important like universal cycle matching up where it's almost like that's how the consciousness, it almost like represents a flip in consciousness for this universe. And
Does
that's
that have to Does that have to do with like the split we've been talking about?
that is a cycle for Earth, but this is even bigger. This is like a universal cycle that's coming back around, um, just for this universe.
I love that. And so will they be affected too on Plutonian? Pluto. Pluto. Never mind.
I still
Transmuto.
I still love Transmuto. That's amazing. And immediately they were like, "No, that's what we meant." Like,
So
um,
will they be affected or are they in such balance that it won't affect them as much?
yeah, for the most part, like they're in such balance that it's all the same. They're like, "We're here for it either way."
All right. Well, I have a lot that I wrote down and that we need to follow up on. And this was a lot of information that was very, very helpful.
Yeah, I
Um,
love them because they have the funniest perspective, but then they bring through like also information. Like I feel like a lot of collectives are more careful about the information that they give you, but for the Plutonians, since they're observers and they don't really care, they're just like, "We'll give you all of the information."
yeah, and other collectives are like worried about what we're going to do with the information. They're like, are they ready for that? And these guys are like, well, we don't really.
Yeah, they're like, it makes
Not
the
really
show better
invested.
for us.
They're like, we just want to see them shoot laser out their eyes. So, I mean, this stuff doesn't really affect us. I mean,
Forgot about that.
well, thank you so much, our friends. And for, today I felt like I really got a lot of good knowledge and that, the collective that listens to this, the collectives that listens to these channels are going to get a lot of great knowledge. So we appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you.